I'm learning now that I don't really know a lot of things about the books that are on my TBR. But to be fair, I have a 25 for 25 list, and then I have like 500 books on my like normal TBR, so. Hi, my name is Allie. Welcome to my channel where we chat about all things bookish. Today, I'm doing a book haul. Yesterday, my husband and I went to McKAY's, and McKAY's is a place where you can buy used vinyls, books, movies, like Funko Pops, comics, gaming consoles, everything like that. My kind of like thing is, if it's kind of nerdy or geeky, you can probably assume that McKAY's sells it. We also had a load of stuff to sell yesterday. So the way McKAY's works is that you can bring stuff in. They will go through it. They will either give you cash or store credit for the stuff that you bring in. So we had like a box of books that we had unhauled and my sister had unhauled. We had some like old gaming consoles and some other stuff that we just weren't going to be using. And so we took all of that stuff in. It took them about an hour and 20 minutes, I think, to appraise all of our stuff, but we did have a lot of like old gaming cartridges and a lot of old Nintendo controllers and things like that. So I think that our load that we brought in was a little bit larger than others. So we got cash back. They gave us a couple of things that were just store credit, and then like a few things they wouldn't take. And then we were able to buy some stuff. McKAY's always has a lot of books, and the only like really downside to the McKAY system is that sometimes like things are shelved weird. Like they have a spot for like YA bargain, YA fiction, YA nonfiction, and then they have like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, thriller, but then like sometimes they'll have like a specific like YA LGBT. Those kind of lines get blurred. Like sometimes I'll find Aiden Thomas in the LGBT fiction for YA, and sometimes I'll just find him in the YA fiction section. So sometimes it can be hard to find a book if you are specifically looking for a book. So my first scan through, I was really just looking for any books that they had that were on my 25 for 25 TBR, and those are like 25 books that I 100% want to read this year, and I ended up finding 2 of them. The first one I found was Elatsoe by Darcy Little Badger, and this is on my 25 for 25 because I want to read more Indigenous books this year. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure what Elatsoe is about. I know it's set in like an alternate version of America. I know there's a bunch of ghost dogs, and I know that even though the cover is a little misleading, that it is set in the summer. So the next book that I found that's on my 25 for 25 TBR is Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans. This one is on my 25 for 25 because I needed one more book, and I asked my best friend Jen what she thought I should put on there, like if she could tell me one book to read, what would it be? And she said 100% hands down this book. Pretty sure Jen has read this book like 3 times in the last year. That's like how much she loves it. So I got this one, and this was only $5, and because of that I went ahead and I got the second book, Relics of Ruins. I don't know if there's gonna be like a 3rd book or a 4th book. I don't know if it's supposed to be a duology or a trilogy or a series, but I have books 1 and 2 on books of the Usurper by Erin M. Evans. I'm pretty sure they're like a fantasy kind of like mystery almost. I don't really know. I'm learning now that I don't really know a lot of things about the books that are on my TBR. But to be fair, I have a 25 for 25 list, and then I have like 500 books on my like normal TBR. So while looking through everything, I also found a book that I have been looking for forever. My library doesn't have it. I didn't really want to get the e-version of it because it's a graphic novel, and I'd rather like have the actual physical book than having it on my iPad, because my Kindle is the Paperwhite, so it would just be black and white. My iPad is just big and huge, and I don't typically have it here at home. And yeah, so I've been looking for this one for forever, and that is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. This is a YA graphic novel about a prince who becomes like this fashionista and like this very, very popular fashion icon, and it's just such a fun little clear book. and I've been looking for it for forever. So I got that one. At that point, those were the only 4 books that I was going to get. I had found a lot of fun gems. Honestly, like, I could buy so many books out of McKAY's. There's usually a really, really great selection. I know that I saw a lot of like N.K. Jemisin books. Usually there's a lot of Octavia Butler books, but I didn't really see any, which makes me think that maybe they were all bought up, which is kind of nice. I see a lot of books on my TBR at McKAY's, so I was only gonna get those 4, but then we found out that we were gonna get $700 back from all the stuff that we had bought, and so I got some more. I got the Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. Once again, I'm really bad at explaining things that are on my TBR, but it's a very cozy fantasy. I think it's a little spicy, I'm not really sure. Anyways, I think it also has bisexual representation, so. And then speaking of N.K. Jemisin, I was going to get the entire trilogy, the Broken Earth trilogy, I think it is. It's the one where like the 5th season is the first book. I was gonna get the entire trilogy. They had all of 3 of them in paperback, nice and neat. But I looked on the other side and I couldn't tell if it was just like a little bit of staining or some book mold. And like, I feel like they wouldn't put a book on a shelf, like they wouldn't sell it if they thought it was mold, but also I wasn't about to take that risk. So I put those back and I was like a little sad about it, but to make up for that, I did get The City We Became. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Once again, I don't really know much about this book except for that it's like a sci-fi fantasy. I know a lot more about like the Broken Earth trilogy, but I really couldn't pass up the opportunity to get an N.K. Jemisin book because I've never read an N.K. Jemisin book, and I know I need to and I want to, and I've heard so many great things about her writing in general. I also got The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This is an Indigenous book, so the author is Indigenous. It is an Indigenous story as well. It is actually not on my 25 for 25 TBR, so I have 5 books on that TBR that are by Indigenous authors and that feature Indigenous stories, but this is actually not one of them, so I decided to pick it up anyways, and I'm excited. It's supposed to be like a YA thriller, I think. Then the last 2 books that I got was This Poison Heart and This Wicked Fate by Kaylin Bayron, and this is, I believe, a completed duology. I don't think there's a 3rd book, and if there is, then oh well, I'll get the 3rd one. This Poison Heart is a YA fantasy book. I believe it has some bisexual representation. We have plant magic, which is also really, really up my alley, and I'm really super excited to read it. So I got both of those. All in all, these are the books that I got yesterday. I love going to McKAY's because I got 9 books for $69.95, which is a huge steal. I love getting used books because not only am I buying myself a little treat, I also feel like I'm giving a little back to the earth by not buying something new. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you've loved any of these books, if you want to read any of these books. I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you for another chat.